Most people don't lack confidence, they lack control, so they reach for the fastest substitute performance. They borrow a louder voice, a sharper opinion, a firmer handshake, a laugh that's slightly too forceful, a posture that says I'm unbothered. While their mind is racing, they borrow certainty they don't actually feel, because uncertainty feels like weakness and weakness feels dangerous. This is why fake confidence is everywhere. Changed everything, in offices, in friendships, on dates, on social media, in meetings where nobody knows the full picture, but everyone is pretending they do. It isn't always malicious. Often it's protective. People learned early everything that hesitation gets punished, and that being unsure invites disrespect. And it works, at least at first, because humans don't evaluate confidence the way we think we do. We evaluate signals. We watch tone, speed, eye contact, posture, calmness under pressure. We confuse these signals with competence and strength. A person can be wrong, but if they look certain, the room often treats them as right. Machiavelli understood this centuries before psychology gave it charts. He understood a brutal truth about social power. Everything. People do not follow truth as reliably as they follow the perception of strength, especially when fear is in the air. Not because people are stupid, but because uncertainty triggers anxiety, and anxiety makes humans look for anchors. Everything confidence is an anchor, even fake confidence. So the world rewards the performer, and that creates a trap. If you learn that performance gets you respect, you keep performing. You build your personality around it. Changed everything. You learn to speak as if you cannot be questioned. You learn to never admit confusion. You learn to attack first so you're never exposed. But the hidden cost is the part nobody tells you. The more you rely on performance, the more fragile you become. Fake confidence is a tower built on one fear: being seen. That's why the loudest person in the room is often the most insecure. Volume can be armor. Certainty can be camouflage. Everything. Arrogance can be panic disguised as pride. The person is not powerful. They're protecting their image like it's their life support. And the moment the performance fails, when someone asks the one question they can't answer, that changed everything. When a crisis exposes the gap between the signal and the substance, they collapse harder than someone who was honest from the start. Because their identity was never built to survive imperfection. It was built to hide it. So a dramatic change to everything. That's the real difference between fake confidence and real confidence. Fake confidence is the ability to look strong. Real confidence is the ability to stay stable even when you don't look strong. How a dramatic event that changed everything. Real confidence is not the belief that you're perfect. It's the knowledge that you can handle being imperfect without losing yourself. It's emotional stability. It's the ability to stay grounded while you learn, while you fail. And that changed everything. While you are challenged, while you're watched. Machiavelli would call this the difference between appearance and power. Appearance is what you show. Power is what you can reliably produce. Changed everything. And this is the reason most people fake confidence. Power is slow to build, but appearance is quick to manufacture. You can manufacture confidence in a day with tricks. You cannot manufacture competence in a day. Everything. You can manufacture dominance with shortcuts. Speak first, speak loud, never ask questions, state opinions as facts, keep your face neutral, control the room, mock someone subtly, dress sharply, be slightly dismissive. Everything. These are tools of performative confidence. Tools of people who want the benefits of power without paying the cost of building it. And in many environments, those tools are rewarded. In weak organizations, loudness is mistaken for leadership. In insecure groups, arrogance is mistaken for strength. Online, certainty is mistaken for intelligence. In dating, boldness is mistaken for value. That's why fake confidence spreads. Everything. It is adaptive in the wrong environments. But it is fragile in real environments, because real environments eventually test you. A real leader is tested by crisis. A real professional is tested by results. A real friend is tested by loyalty. A real partner is tested by pressure. This is why Machiavelli matters. Not as a cartoon villain, but as a mirror. He described how people behave when fear, ambition, and survival collide. Everything. He described how authority is often maintained through perception, because perception shapes obedience. But he also reveals the deeper problem. If your entire identity rests on appearance, you will become addicted to control. Everything. You'll fear being questioned. You'll fear losing status. You'll fear silence. You'll fear mistakes. You'll fear honest relationships, because honesty exposes you. That isn't confidence. That's a fragile ego wearing a crown. Everything. So if fake confidence is fragile performance, what is real confidence? Real confidence is earned evidence inside your mind. It's the quiet certainty that comes from repetition, skill, and self-respect. Everything. It's not the belief that nothing can hurt you. It's the belief that if something hurts you, you can recover without destroying your identity. Real confidence is not loud. Real confidence is clean. It is calmness without arrogance, boundaries without cruelty, speaking clearly without needing to dominate, the ability to say, "I don't know," without feeling small. Because once you can admit uncertainty, you become harder to manipulate. Then that changed everything. And that's the twist most people miss. The person faking confidence is often the one being controlled. They are controlled by the audience, by approval, by fear of humiliation. Their performance owns them. Everything. Real confidence is the opposite. It makes you less dependent on being approved, less desperate, less baitable, less easy to shame, less easy to destabilize. Everything. So the first step toward real confidence is not act confident. The first step is to see the game you're in, because most people aren't trying to become confident. They're trying to avoid humiliation. Changed everything, and that's a different goal. Fake confidence isn't random. It follows patterns. It uses a toolkit. Once you can recognize the toolkit, you stop being hypnotized by it. And when you stop being hypnotized, you stop being controlled. Machiavelli's first lesson about power is not be cruel. It's understand what moves people. People are moved less by truth and more by emotion, fear, admiration, shame, hope. A fake confidence is a weapon that targets emotion. It manufactures a feeling in the room. This person is strong. And once that feeling exists, people start adjusting themselves around it. They defer. They hesitate. That changed everything. They seek approval. They go quiet. That is how performance becomes power. The first tool is speed. Fake confidence speaks fast. Fast speech leaves no space for questions. It creates the illusion of certainty. It forces others to either keep up or look slow. Speed controls the pace, and pace controls the frame. The second tool is absolutes. Obviously, everyone knows. Let's be real. Absolutes are not about accuracy. Everything, they're about dominance. They reduce complex reality into a single line, and complexity is where uncertainty lives. If you erase complexity, you look sure. The third tool is posture and space. A fake confidence takes physical space, leans back, stays still, holds eye contact longer than necessary. These signals tell the room, I'm not afraid. Sometimes they are real. Often they are rehearsed. Stillness becomes intimidation. The fourth tool is interruption. Interruption is status theater. It says your words matter more than someone else's words. It forces a choice: fight back or submit. Most people submit. Everything because conflict feels risky, and the interrupter gains dominance without proving competence. The fifth tool is sarcasm and subtle humiliation. This is the most poisonous tool because it works quietly. Everything. Fake confidence lowers others' status through jokes, smirks, and innocent comments. If the target reacts, they look sensitive. If they stay silent, they accept the status loss. The performer wins either way. Everything. The sixth tool is selective certainty, being unconfident about things that cannot be checked in the moment. Big claims, vague predictions, strong opinions about complex systems. The goal is not to be correct. And that changed everything. The goal is to sound like the kind of person who should not be challenged. And when challenged, fake confidence often uses the seventh tool, shame aggression, not always yelling. Sometimes it's cold. Everything. That's a strange question. You don't understand. Are you serious? The move is designed to shift embarrassment onto the challenger, because shame is powerful in group settings. Everything, and most people will retreat to avoid looking foolish. That's why fake confidence works. Not because it is true, because it manipulates fear, and groups of fear conflict more than they value truth. Truth creates debate. Debate creates tension. Tension risks division. So groups often choose the person who sounds sure, because it reduces uncertainty. It feels like stability, even if it's fake. This is why fake confidence becomes strongest in weak environments: unclear leadership, vague goals, high anxiety, poor accountability. In those conditions, people crave certainty, and the performer offers it. Now here's the trap. An event that changed everything. Once you fall for fake confidence, you reinforce it. You reward it with attention. You laugh along. You hesitate to challenge. Treat performance like authority. That becomes a feedback loop. The performer becomes bolder. Everything. Others become quieter. The room becomes controlled. Over time, the standards of the group fall. Decisions stop being made by competence and start being made by dominance. That is how toxic cultures are built. The loud become powerful. Everything. And the capable become silent. So how do you stop falling for it? You do not fight performance with performance. If you try to out-dominance the dominator, you create a spectacle, and the performer thrives in spectacle. Changed everything. You fight performance with calm structure. You slow the pace. You ask for specifics. You return to evidence. You separate tone from truth. If someone speaks in absolutes, calmly ask, Everything. What assumptions are you making? If someone makes a koosh claim, ask what example supports that. If someone interrupts, continue your sentence without apologizing, then pause. If someone uses humiliation, everything, don't react emotionally. What do you mean by that? Then stay silent and let them explain. That forces the cruelty into the open, where it loses power. This is a clean Machiavellian move. Everything. Remove their ability to weaponize shame. When shame stops working, fake confidence loses its teeth. Now turn the lens inward, because the most important part is not spotting performers, it's spotting your own impulse to perform. Yeah, a dramatic event that change everything. Most fake confidence is not evil. It's protective. People learn that being uncertain gets punished, so they exaggerate certainty. They avoid admitting they don't know. They try to dominate before they can be dominated. Everything. That makes you dependent on approval. It makes you fragile. It makes you reactive. Real confidence is built on 3 pillars: competence, boundaries, and self-trust. Competence gives you evidence. Everything. Boundaries protect you from being pushed around. Self-trust keeps you stable when the room doesn't clap. If you want real confidence, you have to accept a truth. Most people avoid. Confidence is not a personality trait. Hurry, that change everything. It is a relationship between you and reality. Fake confidence is when you try to negotiate with reality using performance. You act sure, hoping the room will treat you as sure. You project an image, hoping the image will protect you. Real confidence is when you negotiate with reality using skill, boundaries, and self-trust. You don't need the room to believe you. You need yourself to know what you can do. Machiavelli's principle is brutally simple. Changed everything. Power is not what you say you have. Power is what you can reliably produce. If you can produce outcomes, you can be calm. If you can't, you must perform. So the path to real confidence begins with one ruthless question. Saw a dramatic event that changed everything. What can you actually do consistently? Under pressure, not what you wish you could do, not what you can do on a good day, what you can do when you're tired, watched, criticized, and uncertain. That question is not an insult. Everything. It's freedom, because once you know the truth, you stop pretending and start building. Pick one arena where confidence matters for you: work, leadership, social life, dating, public speaking, fitness, negotiation. Then pick the smallest skill in that arena that would change your behavior if you mastered it. Not 10 skills, 1. So a dramatic thing. Most people fail here because they try to become confident or in general, which is like trying to become strong or in general. Strength is built by training specific muscles with specific loads. Confidence is built by training specific skills with specific exposure. So choose one skill and train it with boring repetition. If you want confidence in meetings, train concise speaking, one clear point in 30 seconds. Change to everything. Practice it daily. If you want social confidence, train starting conversations without needing the perfect opener. Do it 10 times a week. If you want leadership confidence, train decision-making under uncertainty. Everything. Make small decisions quickly, then review outcomes. If you want dating confidence, train directness without desperation, honest invitations, clean rejection handling. This is the boring truth. Everything. Real confidence grows from boring repetition. Fake confidence grows from dramatic performance. That's why real confidence lasts. Now the second pillar: boundaries. Machiavelli understood that respect is not requested. It is enforced through behavior. People treat you the way you tolerate. If you laugh at disrespect, you train people to disrespect you. If you over-explain, you train people to interrogate you. If you apologize for existing, everything, you train people to ignore you. Boundaries are not aggression. Boundaries are clarity. They are the quiet line that says, this is what you get access to, and this is what you don't. Practice micro boundaries like a martial art. When interrupted, let me finish. Calm, no apology. When pressured, I'll get back to you. No long justification. When insulted, what do you mean? Then silence. When someone tries to rush you, not today. Clean exit. Every time you do this, you teach your nervous system that tension is survivable. You teach your mind that you are not helpless. That lesson becomes confidence. Now, the third pillar: self-trust. To every event that changed everything. Most people don't lack confidence because they are weak. They lack confidence because they don't trust themselves. They tell themselves they'll do something and then they don't. They avoid the hard conversation. Everything. They postpone the work, they protect comfort, then they feel shame and try to cover it with performance. Fake confidence is often a mask for broken self-trust. So rebuild self-trust the only way it can be rebuilt. Everything. Keep promises to yourself. Start small. Make promises you can keep even on bad days. 10 minutes, 1 rep, 1 call, 1 message. Keep it repeated. Self-trust is built like reputation, consistency over time. Once you have competence, changed everything. Boundaries and self-trust, you can cultivate presence. Presence is the external reflection of internal stability. It is not fake confidence. It is controlled confidence. Presence starts with slowing down. Real confidence does not fear silence. Silence is power when you are not ashamed of it. Pause before you speak. Let your words land, then speak with structure. Fake confidence speaks in noise. Real confidence speaks in clean lines. Fewer words, clear statements. If you give reasons, give them once. Use selective openness. You can say, "I don't know," without losing authority. If you add, "Here's how I'll find out." That's honesty plus competence. Event that changed everything. Control your emotional reactions. Fake confidence reacts fast because it's defending an image. Real confidence reacts slowly because it's defending a mission. If someone insults you, you don't rush to win the moment. Everything, you decide what outcome matters and you stay calm. That calmness is what makes you unbeatable. And people respect what they cannot move. Fear will never disappear. Fear is human. The goal is not to become fearless. Everything. The goal is to become functional while afraid. Fake confidence tries to erase fear with performance. Real confidence carries fear and still acts. Real confidence is proven the moment your image is threatened. That it changed everything. That is the test most people fail, because most people don't want confidence. They want protection from embarrassments. So when exposure approaches, they perform, they talk louder, they interrupt more, they get sarcastic. Everything. They become defensive. They pretend certainty. They attack. And the audience often rewards it because the audience confuses aggression with strength. Machiavelli would call this predictable. When status is on the line, everything. People fight for position more than truth. They fight to control the story. But the person with real confidence does something different. They protect the mission, not the ego. They protect outcomes, not appearances. They stay stable. And stability is not magic. It is trained. You build real confidence through a system, not motivation. A system that trains competence, boundaries, and self-trust until calm becomes your default. Start with the daily core every day. Everything, do one thing that increases competence in your chosen arena. Not everything. One thing, one rep, one drill. If your arena is speaking, record yourself explaining one idea in 30 seconds, then improve one detail. If your arena is social confidence, start one conversation even when you don't feel like it. If your arena is leadership, make one decision you've been delaying and accept the consequence. If your arena is negotiation, everything, practice one clean no without apology. This looks small, but small is how reality is built. Next, weekly exposure. Fake confidence avoids exposure. Real confidence trains it. Once a week. Everything. Place yourself in a situation where you might look imperfect, where you might be corrected, where you might fail a little in public. You're not seeking humiliation. You're training your nervous system to survive it. Because the fear of embarrassment is what drives performance. If you can survive embarrassment, you don't need fake confidence. Now, boundaries in real life. Boundaries aren't a mindset, they're a behavior. So practice micro boundaries consistently. When interrupted, let me finish. Calm voice, no apology. When someone pressures you, I'll decide by tomorrow. Not, sorry, I'm just. When someone insults you, it changed everything. What do you mean? Then silence. When someone tries to rush you into agreeing, not right now. End. Every time you do this, you teach yourself a lesson. Disapproval is survivable. Tension is survivable. Conflict is survivable. Et lesson before this. Now comes confidence. Now self-trust. Self-trust is built through promises you cannot negotiate out of. Most people set goals that are too big, then break them, then lose faith in themselves. Everything, so make smaller promises and keep them. 10 minutes, one rep, one message, one decision. Consistency becomes identity. Identity becomes confidence. Then comes the signal layer. How you look confident without faking. You slow down. You pause. You stop filling silence with nervous words. You speak in structure, not flood. Short sentences, clear points. No defensive essays. You stop over-explaining. Over-explaining is usually anxiety disguised as politeness. Everything, every. If asked, point. If asked, clarify. If not asked, stop. You stay open without losing authority. I don't know yet is powerful when paired with, here's what I'll do next, and you control your emotional reactions. Not by suppressing feelings, but by choosing timing. You don't react instantly. You breathe, you decide, you respond. This is the final test. When someone challenges you publicly, do you panic and defend your image? Changed everything, or do you stay calm and protect the truth? The performer panics, the real person clarifies. The performer attacks, the real person asks for specifics. The performer pretends certainty. The real person admits uncertainty and commits to action. That is what real confidence looks like: stability under threat, not swagger in comfort. Everything. Now the warning. Because Machiavelli can turn you into a monster if you misunderstand him. The goal is not to dominate people. The goal is to stop being dominated by your own fear. The clean use of Machiavelli is not cruelty. And it's clarity about the game. People respond to signals, and signals are strongest when backed by substance. So don't manufacture signals. Build substance, then let the signal be natural. Terminator that changed everything. If you want the simplest definition of real confidence, it's this: real confidence is being unshakable without needing to be loud. It is being capable without needing applause. It is being calm when someone wants you to react. That changed everything. It is being honest without being fragile. It is knowing that your worth is not decided by the room, because you have proof inside yourself. That is the difference between fake confidence and real confidence. One is a costume, the other is a spine.